Army football in '85 was a hard-hitting, big-play experience. While some wondered if the cadets could match '84's outstanding performance, the Black Knights quickly quelled all doubts. Again, among the NCAA's leaders in several offensive categories, the continued Army resurgence to national prominence has made it one of the winningest programs of the past 2 seasons. The explosive Army attack was based on a denying defense and combined with a rushing offense second only to that of Nebraska. Spirit, determination, and desire to excel were hallmarks of the '85 season. Coach Jim Young's wishbone attack produced 33 points a game. But more than that, the season of '85 produced successful leaders, exemplifying the best in Army tradition. For Army football, the winning continues. Following the success of '84 was quite a challenge for the cadets. Many key positions would be filled by new men eager to take that challenge. True, there were large shoes to fill, but the '85 edition of the Black Knights were willing to pay the price for victory.
Drive, that's it.
That price included time invested during August in preseason workouts at Camp Buckner.
All right, good pass.
Dedication, discipline, and selflessness. The qualities of a good football player and the qualities of a successful person were learned and sharpened on the practice fields.
Good block.
General Willard Scott, superintendent of West Point, brought some of the Army goals into perspective.
In the old days in Warriors, you picked your champion, and out went David to take on Goliath. We picked you as our champions. Why do we think athletics is so important? All the virtues that the soldier has to have, you learn in this business you're involved in. It takes the full group on the field, and those that support them, you have to be committed. You have to put out. You've got to persevere. You are a cadet first. That's the gray you wear. You're an athlete at great sacrifice. Above that, work on each other. Give the encouragement. Have at it. You don't need luck. Have a great year. Thank you very much.
Jim Young had set the foundation of success coming off an 8-3-1 season, a bowl victory, and a #1 ranked rushing offense. But that was just the beginning. Quarterback Rob Healy knows of Coach Young's ability to succeed.
I think that Coach Young has earned the respect of the entire team along with the entire West Point community. He's taken a program that was down over the past years and turned it around and made us and made the academy in general feel like we're on the winning upswing, on the winning trend. And Coach Young has done that in a lot of ways, but the one thing he's done all the way through is set the example himself. And I think that the individuals at West Point on the team look up to that and respect that.
Respect is a key word to Army football. As the season began in the friendly confines of Michie Stadium, one of the season's goals was to gain the respect of all its opponents and doubters. The first challenge for the cadets was Western Michigan, and the Knights quickly showed they were ready to play and right on target. Taking less than 4 minutes to get on the board, senior quarterback Rob Healy teamed with junior Clarence Jones on a Bronco-busting 78-yard touchdown run. The Army defense proved itself, coming up with 4 Western Michigan fumbles and 2 interceptions. Linebacker Dave Shire totaled 10 tackles, with senior Kurt Gutierrez a close second. Five of the 6 turnovers created by the defense were converted into Army touchdowns. Bill Lampley took a pitch in from 15 yards out, while senior standout Doug Black, taking up where he left off as a 1,000-yard gainer last year, accounted for a 32-yard score, contributing to the 48-6 win, the largest opening game victory margin in 30 years. Coming off a tie with third-ranked Florida the week before, the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers were the next test. Down 7-0 in the first period, Army quickly retaliated with a 68-yard drive, the big play being a 26-yard Healy to Benny White aerial. The right side of the offensive line, Don Smith, Joe Manausa, and Rob Dickerson cleared out the Rutgers D for Rob Healy to tie the score. Again asserting itself, the Army defense, led by the charge of John Thompson, blocked a punt. The maddening rush for the elusive Pigskin nearly resulted in another touchdown before rolling across the end line for a 2-point safety. The swarming defense shut down the Scarlet ground game, limiting them to just 31 yards after their first scoring drive. Particularly effective was number 90, Dave Shire, totaling 16 tackles and named as the ECAC Division 1A Defensive Player of the Week. Still, Rutgers took a 13-12 lead, and for the second time, the Cadets came back. With time running out in the third quarter, Healy directed his team on the ground and through the air towards the go-ahead score. Halfback Bill Lampley took the pitch the final 10 yards. Leading 20-16, it was up to the defense to preserve the victory. The likes of Tom Malloy, Matt Buckner, Larry Biggins, and Doug Pavick did just that, extending Army's winning streak to the longest in 16 years. Following close on the heels of Hurricane Gloria, the Army offensive unit stormed defending Ivy League champion, the University of Pennsylvania, for 525 total yards, 450 via the wishbone rushing route. All East fullback Doug Black led the ground assault with 120 yards, while Clarence Jones scored twice, with Lampley, Healy, and reserve quarterback Torrey Crawford each getting a TD in the 41-3 triumph. Defensively, Penn was able to cross midfield only 3 times. Allowing just a field goal, the Cadet defense stretched their string of quarters without giving up a rushing touchdown to 20, including the end of last season. Senior co-captain Don Smith, the anchor of the offensive line, sought out and accepted the challenge of being an Army student athlete.
West Point has a lot of heritage here, a lot of tradition, and that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a big challenge, something that would challenge me intellectually and as a person, and again, it gave me the opportunity to play football. The thing I've learned from West Point is how to be disciplined. I'm able to discipline myself, and that's the first thing you got to do. You can't expect to discipline anybody else if you're not disciplined yourself. They're going to follow you, and what you do, they're going to do.
Representing the best in the Army tradition, Smith, a Dean's List student and regimental commander, earned Kodak All-America First Team honors by season's end. Boasting its most prolific offensive start in 30 years, the Army offensive juggernaut continued its onslaught against Yale. Amassing 59 points against the Elis, the total was the most ever scored against the Yale team in the 1,005 games since football began there in 1872. Currently ranked 4th nationally in defense against scoring, the Army defense again allowed no rushing touchdowns and yielded just 2 through the air, thanks to the efforts of Lloyd Walker, Kurt Gutierrez, Reggie Fullwood, John Thompson, and others. Craig Stopa set a new Army and Michie Stadium standard with his 53-yard effort. By season's end, Stopa would lead the Cadets in scoring for the 4th straight year, establish the NCAA accuracy record between 40 and 49 yards, and owns 7 Army kicking records. Doug Black again topped the Army running game, totaling 122 yards on just 15 carries. Backup quarterback Torrey Crawford ran for 1 score and passed for a second to Scott Spellman. And senior Kevin McKelvey's effort all contributed to the 59-14 triumph. Playing before a national television audience, the Cadets faced the highly potent passing attack of Boston College, the 1985 Cotton Bowl champs. Jim Brock, Bob Kleinhampel, Darrell Londo, and the other defensive regulars caged the Eagles effectively, denying the end zone. Managing only 48 yards rushing on 30 carries, the Eagles were forced to the air 40 times. Meanwhile, the offense was again rolling up yardage. Doug Black rambled for a season-high 158 yards. And Torrey Crawford, making his first start in place of the injured Rob Healy, generaled the nearly flawless Cadet offense. An alert Army defense intercepted 3 passes, this one through the efforts of Darrell Londo and the sure hands of Bill Sanders. Converting the turnover into a touchdown, Clarence Jones scored his first of 3 for the night, on his way to a 103-yard performance. Torrey Crawford's 3-touchdown, 131-yard output earned him recognition as the ECAC's Offensive Player of the Week. The win extended Army's victory string to 8, the longest since 1950, and led to an AP ranking of 19th in the country. Heading into the game with Notre Dame, the Cadets were ranked number 1 nationally in rushing, were 2nd in scoring average, and 10th in total offense. But the Irish held them to season lows in all 3 categories. The major bright spot being a 2-play drive ending with a Lampley touchdown that cut the Notre Dame advantage to 7. In a game of inches, 2 key plays that could have changed the entire complexion of the game fell just short. First, betrayed by a sideline. And then by the touch of a knee before the pitch. Both 4th down attempts. The Cadets drew to within 4, but it was Notre Dame that controlled the ball. Even though frustrated, the determined effort of a committed Army team continued. Colgate was the homecoming opponent as the Black Knights returned to the friendly banks of the Hudson. Following a 40-yard Stopa field goal, Doug Pavick put the offense back into business with his 4th interception of the season. Rob Healy, back from a rib injury, showed no ill effects as he hit Scott Spellman in the flat for a 65-yard score. Then it was Torrey Crawford's turn. His 35-yard gain set up Clarence Jones's sprint into the end zone behind the blocks of Don Smith and AP All-East center Ron Rice. A crunching block by Doug Black, and Crawford's second effort gave Army a 24-0 advantage. The defense was again hitting and swarming. Jones's second touchdown of the day and two short dives by Black and Healy led the Cadets to a 21-point bulge early in the last quarter. Then it was nail-biting time when, despite intense defensive pressure, the dormant Colgate passing game roared to life. Army maintained control and claimed its 6th win of the year. Another 40,000-plus Army faithful filled Michie Stadium to back the Cadets against the Holy Cross Crusaders. It wasn't until halfway through the second quarter that a Torrey Crawford touchdown gave the Knights a slim 7-6 lead. The defense continued to shut down Crusader threats, and their pressure paid off when senior defensive back Matt Buckner broke through to block a punt and set up the first of two Doug Black one-yard dives to pay dirt. Torrey Crawford's 134-yard output, including this fourth quarter touchdown, helped earn him his second ECAC Player of the Week selection, and more importantly, gave a 21-12 advantage over the mistake-plagued Crusaders. The final score of the day came on the final play of the day, when sophomore Andy Peterson broke loose for a 27-yard score following Doug Pavick's second interception of the game, boosting the Army record to 7-1. A major reason for Army's successful wishbone attack for the past 2 years is due to the play of number 32, Doug Black. A walk-on in 1984, all he did was set a new rushing record. Surprising to some, but the result of determination, courage, and desire.
Doug is a dedicated, tough, all-out individual in anything he does. He's one of the top students here at the Academy. He's a potential Rhodes Scholarship candidate. On the football field and on the practice field, there's no difference. Every play is everything that he's got, and I think that's his great ability, but the determination that he has is outstanding. I went back and did a lot of work to get myself, bigger and faster, and just a lot of determination. I didn't really give up when they said I couldn't play here, and I came back out and showed them I could play.
With 1,023 yards, including the Peach Bowl, the man who wasn't big enough or fast enough became the only Army back to twice gain over 1,000 yards. The Falcons of Air Force were flying high when they met the Cadets for the Battle of the Wishbone. But despite a few moments of glory, the day was one when the Falcons could do little wrong, while Army could do little right. The final home game of the season produced a flurry of offense that would literally bury the Memphis State Tigers. Despite the poor playing conditions, Rob Healy twice connected with tight end Rob Dickerson. The scoring toss good from 30 yards out. A hard-hitting Army defense refused to let the Tiger offense get on track, as they were held to only 55 yards rushing and were able to penetrate Army territory only 4 times all day. Rob Healy enjoyed the finest rushing performance of his career, rolling up 143 yards, including the longest run of the season, a 51-yarder. Healy closed out the scoring in the first half, plowing his way to a 21-0 lead. The Tigers continued to test the cadet defense that responded to the challenge. Carrying the ball only 3 times, Torrey Crawford scored twice and added to the season-high 536 yards of total offense, completely dominating the Tigers of Memphis State. Army versus Navy is a separate season, playing in front of 72,000, a national television audience, worldwide following, the pride of the service academies. All these immeasurable considerations have added up to the proven fact that previous records have meant little. Clarence Jones started this touchdown drive with a 61-yard kickoff return and ended it with this 10-yard sweep. High score, 7-7. The lines of battle were drawn. The Navy offense centered on its running game, a fact of which the Army defense was well aware. The normally productive Wishbone moved the ball but couldn't push it across the goal line. Both defenses performed well. Halfway through the second period, the cadets were again driving. Healy completed a 30-yard pass to Rob Dickerson. Healy kept the ground game going. Jones got down to the 2. Fourth down. Healy on the keeper. No gain. Navy held. But Army lost more than a scoring opportunity on the play as Rob Healy suffered a dislocated shoulder and was lost for the rest of the game. Navy managed 10 more points and victory over an outscored but not beaten Army team. While denied a win over Navy, the Black Knights of the Hudson could take solace in the fact that their 8-3 campaign resulted in an invitation to the 18th annual Peach Bowl to meet Big Ten power Illinois. Despite the disappointment of the moment, the season was not over. A new challenge awaited against the Fighting Illini. The city of Atlanta hosted the traditional Peach Bowl Classic and its week of festive activities for Army's 120-player travel squad. The weather was less than desirable, the rejuvenated Army football team was primed to produce another memorable performance. Often fate chooses to bring the unfamiliar into the limelight. On this day, Peel Chronister, number 33, seemed to be the one chosen. His first quarter interception started an offensive drive that culminated with Rob Healy's 22-yard touchdown run. 7-0 Army. The defense kept Illinois at bay with plays like this Jim Brock sack until a second quarter passing assault gave the Illini a 10-7 lead. Thanks to a fumble recovery by All-East selection Doug Pavick and the ability of the running game to move the ball, Doug Black put the Cadets back on top. 4 plays later, Cronister's second interception gave Army field position on the Illinois 35. Wasting little time, the Wishbone showed a new option when Bill Lampley completed a 33-yard touchdown toss to Benny White. In the third quarter, lightning struck again. This time it was Clarence Jones to Scott Spellman for a 28-23 go-ahead score. Fourth quarter action showed the Army defense again creating the big play when a Dave Shire hit caused a fumble that Jim Brock quickly recovered. Fittingly, Craig Stopa had the margin of victory resting on his well-proven kicking leg. His 39-yard field goal gave Army an important 8-point lead. Still, the Illini fought back, scoring on a last-minute desperation pass. They were in position to tie when Peel Cronister, playing the game of his life, broke up the conversion try. Army's defensive big plays overcame the Illinois record-setting passing attack and helped lead the Cadets to victory, marking the second consecutive bowl win over a Big Ten opponent.
They did this kind of rover twice. They bring a weak corner in the middle.
Army football in 1985 equaled its most wins in a single season with its 9-3 record.
Always stay inside out, force him on the upfield shoulder.
It extended its unbeaten string at home to 12 games.
Make up your mind, you're going to stop them. That's how we got to play the whole game.
Scoring the most points of any Army team in the last 40 years, this season's scoring output was the third highest in Army football history. While this season's senior leadership will certainly be missed, a nucleus of experienced talent remains, and the outlook for '86 should prove an exciting challenge. All indications are that for Army football, the winning continues.